Hello everyone, this is Neeraj Kumar. I'm just going to give a brief presentation on the driving forces behind the IoT and 5G security with respect to the business perspective. Okay, let's look into the presentation now. So the IoT and 5G integrated infrastructure has several driving factors provide a new trend and creating a new way of innovation. So I have listed the main driving forces behind these technologies. As you can see here, the interconnectivity of the device, the IoT growing a volume of data in a cloud computing, and improved analytics in automations, and driver like different use cases, and machine to machine communication medium, and the system with a high capacity, the availability and support of the large bandwidth, and the edge computing for the mobile, and finally the network slicing and virtually no latency with a complete coverage. Yeah. So in terms of the capabilities in the rapid development of the IoT device, so here with the 5G, the smart manufacturing will advance because the edge computing and artificial intelligence can be used due to the decreased latency and increased bandwidth. Yeah. And secondly, to assist with the marketing services, the service sector would be able to create a prototype based on augmented and virtual reality technologies, which is published by the David Gear. And the several fields have scaled their product support, such as the 8K resolution, the ultra high definition video deployment in IoT network with the 5G. It's 100% possible. Yeah. So to so this is 5G to keep up with the IoT and 5G with the security threats. So there are some security threats which we have to uh, take into the consideration. So here the terminal access risk, the edge computing security risk, the network channel security risk, and the core network security risks are some of the few security threats and the problems that IoT integrated 5G network faces. Yeah, for example, the mobile terminal have evolved into the main entry point for the IoT companies in the 5G network. Yeah, the widespread use of this IoT enhance the device's entry terminal visibility, which raises the threats to the security for the 5G terminals. So here the main problem that the 5G brings in huge Internet of Things is the enhanced bandwidth, yeah, which leads to much more solidly constructed network devices, and implementing a production layer will be problematic in 5G network. So here there are several security risks has been captured by the US government and organization known as CIA, called the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, regard the 5G regard the 5G reliability and confidentiality. Yeah. So one of the three more main problems are like inadequate 5G equipment installation, and the cybersecurity risk associated with the 5G supply chain, and finally the 5G deployments that utilizes the outdated 4G long-term evaluation infrastructure. For example, the company called the Huawei is a, in, in integrated 5G interfaces or their own implemented APIs, which restricts consumers' option for hardware because such items could not be compatible with Huawei. So, which is the clearly said by the Phil Soley, the IDC group. Yeah. So let's look into some the real world the data breach. There are real time data breach attacks due to the cross pollination effect of the IoT vulnerability has been recorded recently. So I just listed three of the data breach attacks here. The first one is the Verkada data breach 2021. In this huge data breach, the the 15,000 CCTV cameras have been exploited. Sorry, not 15,000, 150,000 cameras has been exploited, and it's counting, hospitals, jails, even the Teslas as well. Yeah, this is one of the biggest camera data breach happened in 2021, and followed the Equifax IoT data breach 2017. That exposed the individually identifiable information of the tens of millions of US people by initially breaching the Struts vulnerability. Yeah. And followed by the SolarWinds hack 2020. The SolarWinds developed a tool called IT Infrastructure and Network Element Management Tool was hacked by injected malicious Trojan backdoor in their code repository. So due to the SolarWinds tools being hacked, the thousands of US organizations, including the government companies who have deployed the tool in their network, have been hacked. Yeah. And there are certain mitigation solution that can be brought into solve these issues. It's called the RBAC, the implementing rule based the access control policy to solve the cyber threats in the IoT 5G integrated infrastructure. So there are three main solutions I've captured here from the bunch of proposed mitigation strategies. So effective authentication mechanism that enables the reciprocal authentication between the servers and 5G network connected IoT device, and followed by the elliptic curve. It's one of the best cryptographic algorithm, the elliptic curve, which used to strengthen the device communication in the IoT and establish the end-to-end encrypted data communication, and followed by 3D authentication. Here, the user identification has to go through the three-dimension authentication procedures in each and every devices which has been connected in the IoT and 5G network. So here there are three primary issues needs to be addressed in the current legal system associated with the IoT and 5G in terms of the legal consideration. The first one is identification information about the author. Yeah, so there are no ownership of the data deployed in IoT device has been claimed, and followed by the no definition restriction of the private and public data. That means there are no border has been defined so far in the IoT devices between the private and public, and followed by the attacks on the people lives. Yeah, this is more vulnerable one. It needs to be addressed as part of the legal consideration. So here the security breach or the real hardware crash may come from the malware or the cyber attack on the traditional computer system. The loss in the IoT assaults won't end here. It will go beyond this point and put the people lives in the danger. For instance, making the slight changes in the log information of the patient in the medical device may result in erroneous treatment and eventually cause a dangerous side effects and the impacts on the patient life. So this is a significant issue since IoT and 5G nearly completely blurs the line between the real and virtual worlds. Yeah, there are some questions need to be discussed, are those listed below. So the questions are like, are these laws and norms prepared to handle the circumstance? And what time should IoT device and gadgets stop gathering the data? And if the internet outage in the IoT medical devices, who will take the responsibility for the either medical or local or global service or internet service providers? So what is the security of the consequences? Sorry, the severity of the consequences. So here there are future direction conclusion that can be going the way to solve all the issues in the IoT integrated 5G. So there are like mitigating ethical legal issues and implementing the technical actions would significantly minimize the risk factors of the IoT integrated 5G platform that listed in this image. Yeah, thank you everyone.